era can come to an end.
I know in the process where we are.
I think we can beat any opponent.
But Manchester United have sacked their manager, Erik ten Hag.
There was a time when Manchester United didn't just play football, they defined it. From the roaring dominance of the 90s to the unprecedented treble-winning season of 1999, they were a club that embodied glory, grit and greatness. With legends donning the red jersey and a fortress in Old Trafford, United wasn't just a football club, it was a global dynasty. But dynasties don't last forever. What was once the beacon of footballing brilliance now stands as a haunting shadow of its glorious past. A club that ruled the Premier League now struggles to find its identity, let alone any success. Manchester United's rise to the pinnacle of football was the stuff of legends, but their fall? It's a cautionary tale of mismanagement, egos, and a changing game that left them behind. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United reigned supreme, claiming 13 Premier League titles and cementing a legacy of dominance, but his retirement marked the end of an era and the dawn of a turbulent decline. Since 2013, Manchester United have burned through £60 million hiring new managers and splashed out over £1.6 billion on transfers, all without a single major trophy to show for it. In the 2012-13 season, Sir Alex Ferguson clinched his 13th and final league title, sealing United's record 20th championship. As the most decorated manager in football history, he retired in triumph, passing the torch to his hand-picked successor, Everton's David Moyes. The era of David Moyes began with hope as Manchester United claimed the Community Shield with a commanding 2-0 victory over Wigan Athletic. Under Moyes, the Red Devils faltered like never before, plunging into their worst ever start in Premier League history, shattering the aura of dominance they once embodied. The summer Ferguson departed, United faced another blow with the exit of David Gill, their trusted transfer negotiator, replaced by Ed Woodward. What followed was a chaotic transfer window that fell far short of expectations, with failed pursuits of stars like Gareth Bale, Cesc Fabregas and Toni Kroos. Early in the summer, Manchester United missed the chance to secure Everton's Fellaini for £23.5 million, only to scramble back on deadline day and pay a steep £27.5 million, a costly symbol of their disarray. After a summer filled with hopes of a world-class signing, Manchester United fans were left deflated and disillusioned. With UCL qualifications slipping through his grasp, the manager's tenure ended in dramatic fashion before his first season could even conclude. Ryan Giggs stepped into the spotlight as interim manager for the final 4 games of the season, overseeing United's descent to 7th place, with just 64 points, a staggering 22 points behind Man City, their lowest finish since the dawn of the Premier League era. On May 19, 2014, Netherlands manager Louis van Gaal was unveiled as Moyes' permanent successor, stepping into the role after the 2014 World Cup. By the time Van Gaal arrived at Old Trafford, his glory days were a distant memory, and his methods felt relics of a bygone era. Naming Ryan Giggs as his assistant, he ushered in a bold new chapter marked by a flurry of high-profile signings. Luke Shaw and Ander Herrera were brought in for a combined £59 million, with Argentine defender Marcos Rojo following closely, arriving for €20 million, as Manchester United sought to rebuild with fresh talent. But the headline act was Angel Di Maria, whose record-breaking £59.7 million move from Real Madrid sent shockwaves through English football, capping a summer spending spree of over £130 million. 10 games into the league, United languished in 9th place with just 13 points and 3 wins, their worst start since 1986-87. Plagued by injuries to key players including newcomers Herrera, Rojo and Falcao, Van Gaal faced mounting pressure but remained defiant. United's hopes in the 2014-15 FA Cup were dashed in the quarter-finals by holders and eventual champions Arsenal. Yet in his debut season, Van Gaal steered Manchester United to a hard-fought 4th place finish, securing a triumphant return to the Champions League. In the summer of 2015, Van Gaal set the stage, bolstering his squad with a series of high-profile signings. Memphis Depay from PSV, Matteo Darmian from Torino, Sergio Romero from Sampdoria, Morgan Schneiderlin from Southampton, Bastian Schweinsteiger from Bayern Munich, and the explosive young talent Anthony Martial from Monaco. Despite their heavy investments, United's hopes crumbled as they were shockingly knocked out of the League Cup by Championship side Middlesbrough. Then, by a crushing 3-2 defeat to Wolfsburg, they finished third and were relegated to the Europa League. As the season unravelled, whispers of discontent echoed through the dressing room, with several United players openly turning on Van Gaal, dubbing him clueless and challenging his tactics. His public criticism of a young Marcus Rashford and questionable decisions only fueled the fire. United finished 5th, just outside the Champions League places, but on May 21, 2016, with a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace, they won the FA Cup, his only trophy with the club. Yet just 2 days later, he and his Dutch staff were all dismissed. Van Gaal's possession-heavy style, criticised for its conservatism and lack of attacking flair, clashed with the fans' hunger for fast, dynamic football. His tenure was defined by controversial decisions, including the sale of key players like Danny Welbeck and the failure of big-money signings such as Angel Di Maria to leave their mark. On May 27, 2016, Mourinho was appointed Manchester United's new manager, signing a 3-year contract that promised a new era. Mourinho soon bolstered his squad with 2 dazzling signings, Paul Pogba arriving for a world record £89 million and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Just 2 months later, he claimed his first trophy, the Community Shield, with a 2-1 win over Leicester City. The triumphs continued at Wembley, where United defeated Southampton 3-2 in the EFL Cup final, making Mourinho the first United manager to secure a major trophy in his debut season. On May 24, 2017, Manchester United triumphed in the Europa League with a commanding 2-0 victory over Ajax, marking Mourinho's second major trophy in his first season at the helm. In the summer of 2017, Mourinho fortified his squad with the additions of Belgian striker Romelu Lukaku, defender Victor Lindelof, and midfielder Nemanja Matic, setting the stage for a strong campaign. United finished second in the league, their best showing since Sir Alex Ferguson's departure. United's hopes in the Champions League were dashed in the round of 16 by Sevilla, a bitter blow to their European dreams. The heartbreak continued in the 2018 FA Cup final, where Chelsea triumphed 1-0, thanks to a decisive Eden Hazard penalty, leaving United with nothing but frustration and defeat. After a dismal start to the 2018-19 season with just 7 wins in the first 17 Premier League games, United were trailing the league leaders by 19 points. Mourinho's pragmatic, defence-first approach stood in stark contrast to United's storied attacking tradition, sparking frustration among fans hungry for the fluid, dynamic football they once knew. Also, the growing rift between Mourinho and star players poisoned the atmosphere within the squad. Mourinho's fate was sealed. On December 18, 2018, the club parted ways with him, ending the chapter with United. After the fiery reigns of Van Gaal and Mourinho, Manchester United turned to someone who embodied the club's soul, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Initially appointed as a caretaker, the Norwegian defied all expectations with a sensational start, winning 13 of his first 15 games and masterminding a legendary Champions League comeback against Paris Saint-Germain. Despite flashes of brilliance and a return to attacking football, Solskjaer fell short where it mattered most, delivering silverware. His pinnacle was a second-place Premier League finish in 2020-21, trailing Manchester City by 12 points, and a heartbreaking Europa League final defeat to Villarreal on penalties, leaving questions about his ability to restore United's glory. With Cristiano Ronaldo's triumphant return, Solskjaer's fourth campaign began with soaring expectations, but it unravelled spectacularly. A humiliating 5-0 defeat to Liverpool at Old Trafford and a crushing 4-1 loss to Watford marked the end of his tenure. Solskjaer's departure paved the way for first-team coach Michael Carrick to step in as caretaker until December 2, 2021. Then the German tactician Ralf Rangnick was appointed interim manager to guide United through the remainder of the season. Ralf Rangnick's interim reign at Manchester United was a turbulent chapter, defined by disjointed performances, defensive frailty, and a failure to inspire cohesion. United finished a disappointing 6th in the 2021-22 season, their lowest Premier League points tally, and even conceded 57 goals in the league, missing out on Champions League qualification and ending the campaign trophyless. After that, Rangnick finally broke his silence with a brutally honest assessment, declaring that Manchester United needed open heart surgery, a striking diagnosis of the club's deep-rooted issues. Appointed after United's worst Premier League season, Ten Hag sparked hope with a transformative first year, securing the Carabao Cup, toppling Barcelona in Europe, and defeating rivals at Old Trafford. In his second season, he guided United to FA Cup glory, beating Manchester City to claim the silverware. But a crushing 7-0 defeat to Liverpool marked a turning point as cracks began to appear in his promising reign. The first cracks in Ten Hag's plan appeared with the failed pursuit of Frenkie de Jong, a dynamic midfield connector. Forced into a late pivot, United signed Real Madrid's Casemiro, a defensive maestro but a stark departure from de Jong's profile, highlighting a recurring issue of reactive rather than cohesive tactical planning. Abandoning his original plan, Ten Hag swiftly shifted to a counter-attacking style that thrived on pace, earning a third-place finish and a Carabao Cup victory. But the success was short-lived, as it led to a fractured and disjointed team. Ten Hag's pursuit of familiar faces from his past came at a heavy cost, with millions squandered on players who couldn't handle the intensity of the Premier League or the weight of United's legacy. Among those, Antony, United's second most expensive signing ever, became not just Ten Hag's greatest disappointment, but perhaps the most monumental flop to ever grace the hallowed grounds of Old Trafford. Ronaldo's return to United in 2021 was met with hope, and he shone in his first season, but under Ten Hag the narrative shifted dramatically. Unmoved by the Portuguese legend's brilliance, Ten Hag began to sideline him, reducing his role as the manager envisioned a future without Ronaldo, despite his 24 goals in that first season back. The £73 million price tag on Jadon Sancho weighed heavily at Old Trafford, and the pressure soon boiled over into open conflict with Ten Hag. 2 years after his highly anticipated arrival, Sancho found himself exiled, left out of the squad, and drifting from the promise that once surrounded him. Backed by a staggering £564 million investment to realise Ten Hag's vision, United pinned their hopes on Mason Mount's dynamism to energise the midfield and Andre Onana's composure to revolutionise play from the back. However, Mount's season was hampered by injuries, while Onana's early performances were marked by inconsistency, casting doubt on the grand plan. In October 2024, after a disastrous start to the season with just 3 wins from 9 league matches, Ten Hag was sacked, his tenure unravelling as United languished in 14th place. Once kings of Europe, now they search for a new dawn, a new identity. The promises of silverware, the triumphs that made Old Trafford a fortress, feel like distant memories. A managerial carousel, signings that never lived up to the hype, and a fan base growing restless with every passing year. But the heart of Manchester United beats still, echoing the hope that one day this great team will rise once more, stronger, unified, with a return to greatness that the world is waiting for.